Right, well, I'm here today with Dr. Patrick Tansley from Northeast Plastic Surgery in Brisbane and Melbourne, and we're going to have a talk about a really hot topic today, which is polyurethane implants, the pros, if there's any cons or anything like that. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Pleasure.
Lovely.
Why polyurethane implants compared to smooth or textured?
It's really an issue of safety, which once an implant is placed into the body, any implant, a capsule forms around it, which is almost like a shrink wrap type of structure. And the risk of that contracting in the long term has been shown to be much higher than smooth or textured silicone implants in comparison with foam covered implants. In fact, historically, the way textured implants were first generated was as a negative implant of the polyurethane foam covering. So it's a very interesting historical fact. In the long term, the data shows that about 10 to 20% of those capsules will go on to cause a capsular contracture in the smooth and textured silicone implants. That compares with around as low as 1% in the polyurethane foam covering.
Wow.
So the benefits to a patient are profound in having the polyurethane foam covered implants in comparison to the smooth or textured silicone implants.
Okay. And how does the body react to the foam covering?
It becomes integrated into the capsule that I was telling you about. And that's very important because the histological makeup of the capsule in the polyurethane foam implants is of a more random pattern rather than a linear pattern in the smooth and the textured. And that random pattern makes it much less likely for the capsule to contract and therefore give the clinical benefits which I alluded to.
Okay, so with the polyurethane implants, do you have to replace them after 10 years? There's conflicting stories that you do have to replace them after 10 years or you don't, or like what's the go with that?
There is no good data to suggest definitive time at which implants should be replaced. They're usually replaced for problems associated with the implants, such as the capsular contracture, which is the commonest implant-related problem.
Right.
That typically occurs far more frequently in smooth or textured silicone implants than it does on polyurethane foam covered. So it really depends on whether or not there are complications. But the important thing to remember is that the smooth or textured have capsular contracture rates of up to 20%, whereas the polyurethane foam are as low as 1%.
Wow.
So the chances of having a contracture that requires secondary medical intervention are much lower with the polyurethane foam covered implant.
Okay, great. That's really enlightening, so it's really good to know. So it's from 20% down to 1% just using polyurethane. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
My pleasure.
So if you'd like to find out a bit more about Dr. Tansley, who practices in Brisbane and also in Melbourne, just drop us an email at info@plasticsurgeryhub.com.au. Thank you.